All right, so first thing that we're going to do, we're going to make, just like we did with our walls, we got to make one of the rim joist, is in our case is a rim joist or ledger board, header board if you want to call it. So we're going to come over here and make our shape, and we're going to draw it. So we're going to sit vertical, and this is where you kind of went backwards, Adam. So we're going to go the 1.5 because that's our thickness of our 2x4 this way. Oh, okay, 1.5 by, let's see, and we want to go 144, I believe it was. Don't quote me on this, but I've got a lot of paperwork and notes taken here. So this is going to be our first one, okay? So if you look at this, it's kind of like as if you're looking down on it.
Yep.
So I want to bring this up. I want to bring this up 3.5 because that's the thickness of a 2x4, okay? So right there is my header, ledger board, rim joist, if you want to call it, or not the rim joist, baseboard. So now I want to save this as, who's remembers? You want to triple click on it, triple left click. What do we save this as?
Component or a group.
A group. We want to make this a group. Okay. So this is the first one is the group because we're going to copy this exact one and put it on the other side. Okay. So now we have to lay our joist in. Okay. Just like our walls was our studs. Okay. So I want to rotate this. So I want to look at it just like if I'm putting it on a bench. Okay. Where I'm marking my studs out or my joists. I'm going to come over here and get the rectangle feature. I'm going to zoom in. I want to start in the corner here, and I'm going to bring this out so it's going out, and I want to go 3.5 because that's the thickness up and down by 1.5. Okay, well that's that. So now I have one pattern marked out. So keep in mind, if, and this is where probably you are a lot of you getting frustrated, if you do this and you go 1.5 comma 3.5, well guess what happens? Flipped it. Okay, so you want to make sure you index that right when you enter your dimensions in. Okay, so there's my 3.5 marking of my 2x4, and this is where we're going to extrude them towards you. Okay, but first we got to make copies of that. Instead of making 9 or 10 copies on this 12-foot piece, we're just going to copy and make and move these ones here. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. Oh, what step am I missing, Adam? Do you remember?
Triple click.
Triple click. You have to make this a what?
Component.
A component. Okay, so I'm going to left click it 3 times and right click, and I have to make it a component. Okay, so now I'm going to put this as floor joist. All right, so now this is separate from that group. Okay, so now I'm going to come and do the move feature, and I'm going to highlight it till I get 4 red pluses, and I'm going to click on it and Control M to copy it. Okay, so see how it stayed in place? Now I want to stay on this face on this group here. I want to slide it over and just type in 16 because that's 16 on center and hit enter. Don't touch the mouse. Hit X for times and how many joists you want to put in. I'm going to go 10 just to be safe. Okay, and then hit return. So now if I zoom out, there are my marked floor joists. Okay, but you see a problem here, right? There's a problem right here. All right, so what I'm going to do is, since I made an extra one, and I'm not sure if I can just delete this one. It may delete all of them. Okay, so it looked like it just deleted that one. Okay, so now this one here is hanging over the edge a little bit, as you can see. See how it's hanging there?
Yep.
I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom in so I can see this corner here. The zoom feature is really nice. Okay, so you can look at it really close. So now I want to click the move button. Again, I want to highlight the one joist marking here when all you got 4 pluses here, and left click on the move, and I just want to slide this thing over until it says on face in group, and then left click again, and there I just put it down. Okay, Is everybody with me so far?
I am.
All right, so now what we want to do is we want to make these studs go out, okay? So now I'm going to come up here to the pointer feature or select, and I'm just going to hit any one of these because every one of these joist markings are the same, okay? They're identical copies. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to triple click, so it's going to look like this, okay? The only thing that's going to be highlighted in each one of these blue markings is my stud mark or joist markings. So I'm going to come over here and pull it. Okay, and I can pull these out as far as I want. And I forget what my notes were here, but I believe it's, I don't know, even if I go out 8 feet. So if I go 96 inches, that's where I have 96 inches. Okay, so there's my floor joist that I just made. It saved a ton of work just by doing that copy. Okay. So part of your responsibility on this whole activity, obviously, is to make each of these floors, but also is to do the math. Okay. And I'll show you my notepad that I have here. I mean, I'm just doing simple adding subtraction. You know, as long as you know what your sheathing is, it's 1/2 inch. You can add and subtract whatever your distance is. That's how you're going to get this measurement. So how to figure that out is you've got 1.5 inches on this side, 1.5 inches on this side, plus the 1/2 inch and the other 1/2 inch. That's where you're going to get how long to make these floor joists. Okay. All right. So now, is everybody with me on this one before we continue on making the copy?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yeah.
So I think you made those right now 8 foot long, so they're going to be too long.
Yep.
Can you? How do you make it like you want them 7'8"? How do you get that whole group to be 7'8"?
Okay. So now, yeah, that's a good question. So here I want to I want to see how long they are. Okay. So what I can do, actually, one way to do it is you come over here to this move feature, and then I will come right to this edge right here. Well, no, it's not moving all of them here for some reason. It should be moving all of them. Oh, I know why. All right, so I have to triple click to get all of them lit up again. So now I'll come to the move feature. Oh, no, it's not moving that face again. I did it earlier. There we go.
There
You got to hit the face, okay, the top face on it. But you want to make sure, see how when I move this, it moves it off the red axis? You want to make sure that you move your mouse a certain way, because if I start moving my mouse and I get a little bit off kitty wampus, well, now my wall doesn't look right. See how it's off that axis?
Mm-hmm.
So now I have to come and bring this back where it says, there's a way to do it. It'll say on the green axis, okay? So you want to make sure when you move it, you want to make sure that you move it. See where the dotted line is just below the blue marking?
Yep.
That means that it's going in straight, okay?
Yeah, I think my mistake was I clicked on like in the middle of the board and not the end, and I was just shoving it through the board through the plate.
Yeah, so, and it all depends on where you click. So now that I have all of them highlighted, so it's going to move every one. So if I don't come and hit this pane right here, sometimes you got to hover the mouse around. So if I just kind of go in here, well, I think I've got it. Let's see what happens. See, now I'm moving just that top part of that board. So it all depends on where you click on it. So that's the most important part is where you click. Because if you start clicking different spots, well, now you're moving things all over the place, and now you just gotta. I mean, it's a piece of work. Looks like a piece of artwork now. So that's key.
That's the point where I start all over again.
Yeah. So now, if I want to get to that, what's that measurement I want to get at? 7 feet 11 inches, right? Okay. I need to get to 7 feet 11 inches. So now I'll just double click here so I can get rid of that. I know I need to get to 7 feet 11 inches. Okay. So I know I have 1.5 inches on this side, so I have to add another 1.5 inches on this side. Okay, so now 1.5 inches minus 7 feet 11 inches is what? Alex, you with me?
It was what was it again?
So 7
Okay.
feet 11 inches minus 1.5. So it should be 7 feet 9.5. It is what my total length from here to here. So if I add a half inch, it'll add it to 7 and 11. Does that make sense?
7.9.
Okay, before I get, well, I don't want to confuse everybody here with a bunch of numbers, but I want to make sure everybody's on track on how to make a copy of this this baseboard or ledger or header board here. So we're going to come over here and make and move again. Okay, so I want to move this particular piece on top of this piece. Okay, so I want to click it. So it's all highlighted in blue, and I want to Control M to copy it. And now I should be able to pull it all the way out. But look at my dotted line. Everybody see my dotted line there?
Yeah.
That means I'm off axis right now. So I want to move my mouse to the right a little bit, and it says on red axis. Okay, and this is where I'll show you a little trick. So I will bring that just above. I mean, right there, it looks like it's fairly close, but I'm going to show you a little trick so you know you can get it exactly right on. Okay, so I'm going to left click my mouse to hold it there. And I'm going to rotate this axis, and I'm going to zoom in, move this over so I can see it. Let's rotate it so I can see this corner again. See how close I'm zooming in here? So now I'm going to move it again. And now I can see exactly where it meets up with that joist. Okay. And I know it's moved straight because it says on red axis, and I have a dotted line there. So that, and I'm going to left click. So now I should be able to look at it, and there should be no gap there. Okay, does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so now if I want to do this, I just measure from outside to outside. Okay, so now this is where you're going to have to do some math. Okay, so if I am at 7 feet 4 1/8 of an inch, so now I would subtract that from 7 feet 11 inches. And that's how far I would actually have to move this one. So I'll say if I have to go out 5 inches, I want to go out 5 inches. There, I just moved that 5 inches. Okay, so now I would do the same with this one. So remember, I have to left click here so I highlight it, and I'm going to take and move these floor joists. Make sure you highlight the edge here. Sometimes it's a little tricky to find it. Right here, left click, and I want to pull it 5 inches. And I'm going to just double click so it goes back to the original screen, and voila, it brought it out 5 inches. So now it should be, I think I had, what was it, 7 feet 4 inches? It should be 7 feet 9 1/8 right now, if everything measures out right. Right there. So that's how you move the wall. That's why it's important to get those, the joist in a component, and your outside top plates here, well, are ledger or header boards, baseboards, on a group. Okay, because if you did everything separately, you would be moving each individual part. That all make sense?
Mm,
All right, so let's try to do the math. So we got 7 feet 9 1/8, right? Okay, so now we need to go inch and 7/8 more. Okay, so let's try this. Let's see if we can bring this out to 7 feet 11 inches. All right, so now we're going to rotate this so we can see it. Zoom out, and I want to move this out. I want to move this out 1 space 7/8. right there.
Mm.
Now I want to rotate this so I can see my edge of my joist that I want to move, and I want to triple click that. And now I want to move all my joists 1 space 7/8. All right, and I will click the screen here to separate that, and I'll zoom out and let's see where that actually brought us here. There, 7 feet 11 inches. All right, so well, let's see, we got to change this here though. We got to move these out. For some reason, it pulled them away from here.
How could you just do it with 7 feet 11 inches? Could you just type that in too?
When you start it, so the way I did it was, you know that you need 7 feet 11 inches, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what do I have here? So this is where it's going to be important when we start reading our blueprints, is you need to know what to cut each of your floor joists, okay? So now I know I need to cut these 7 feet 8 inches, okay? So the way to do that, you can figure it out by inches, which I think it comes out to be about 90, 92 inches or so, something like that. So what was your question again, Adam? I got kind of on a tangent there about measuring the joist here.
Never mind.
You mean about measuring the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you know you need to go to 7 feet 11 inches, you would make your baseboard here, or your
Yep.
ledger header board. You would make that first, and then just subtract. How much would you subtract from both of these to come up with your inside dimension?
2.5 inches.
Yes,
Right.
and what does that equal out to?
One. A half and a half, right?
What's a half? What's a 1.5 plus 1.5?
Oh. 2.5.
A little
Right.
higher,
3.5.
a little lower.
Hold on. $2.10.
Nope, it's going to be exactly 3. So it's 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 2 halves is another 1, so that's 3.
Okay.
So it's going to be 3 inches, okay? So just take 3 inches minus 7 feet 11 inches. That will give you how much to cut those floor joists, okay? All right, we'll stop here.